Today on Lockdown Red Wings, what else would we talk about besides the trade deadline? Come on, guys, you know.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Scotty, every single episode we record together is a banger because I get to record them with you. But I think this might be the most excited I've been for an episode in a long time because it's my first trade deadline with the program. And now there were no Anthony Mantha level trades, but that Nick Leddy trade, that slapped, baby. That slapped.
The deadline was a crazy one.
It was great.
It was mayhem of an NHL trade deadline. That's for sure,
dude. I legit you can see it. I got a big ass smile on my face. I'm so excited to talk about this. Thanks for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Scotty also host over at Locked On Tigers. Yeah, man. We're gonna do. You spend the first two segments talking about this trade deadline. Third segment will break down or preview rather the Philadelphia Flyers matchup, third and final of the season. Scotty, we gotta talk about the Nick Leddy trade first. Like that was the one. That was the banger.
I mean, let's get into it, baby.
So I said on 97 won the ticket the other day because I was,
quick flex.
Intermission report. Jake Riepma interviewed me and asked for my thoughts on the trade deadline, and I said Nick Leddy and Namestnikov are they were the logical choices. Expiring deals, they were playing the best out of those expiring deals to get moved. I said Nick Leddy, probably given the market right now after the Ben Sherratt trade, a second rounder. Steve Yzerman got a second rounder and then some for Nick Leddy. And we talked about it yesterday, and we've talked about it all week. Nick Leddy, expiring deal, $5 million. Could take him, could leave him, underperforming his contract. I think Jay Fresh posted, once he got dealt, his projected WAR percentage this season 17%. Not very good. Definitely an underperforming year for him. He's not that bad. I mean, he's been in the league since like 2010. He's not that bad. We know what he is. And so I think St. Louis is definitely betting on the fact that on a better team, he'll rebound a bit better. But the haul that Yzerman got, I also sent out Luke Witkowski in the deal as well. I was more than happy.
Blown away, honestly. I mean, that for as disappointed as everyone was for the Vlad deal, which we'll get to later. I mean, the Leddy deal was unreal. Like you said, second rounder plus change. I'm pretty excited about the defenseman, honestly. I think the winger is probably more just offloading a little bit of salary on their end base, but it's a depth center, which we more than need under contract for this year and next year. And like I said, I'm pretty damn pumped about the deep defenseman coming back.
Yeah, and so the second round pick, you're recouping the second round pick you traded for Nick Leddy in the offseason in the first place. So really, if you want to set your mind straight, that second round pick is negligible because you sent out Edmonton's second round pick that you had gotten from them, and now you got St. Louis's second round pick. You basically swapped second rounders, but you got back so much more out of this deal. I mean, those two depth pieces, man, especially Jake Walman. I'm actually really excited to see what Jake Walman can do.
I'm pumped about Walman, man.
Especially when Jay Fresh on Twitter. Again, great follower. Great follow, guys.
A must follow if you're into hockey. He's literally a must follow. Yeah.
He put that hockey stat card, and I go, oh boy, here we go.
You saw my tweet first, though, right?
Your tweet was fantastic. I give you mad props. That was so even the formatting was great. I'm not even kidding. I'm being 100% serious. That was a fantastic tweet. So if nobody else liked it,
that's the first thing I do on trades with baseball.
You even got the expected goals for percentage in there.
I know.
So proud of you.
That's the first thing I do with any trade for any of my teams, man, is just go and look up all the information, contract, advanced analytics, whatever. And Walman's were exciting.
Yes, it was. Jake. So we got two players back. We got Jake Walman and Oskar Sunqvist from the St. Louis Blues. Oskar Sunqvist. I'm sorry, Jake Walman. So far this season, he's a depth defenseman for the St. Louis Blues, who's playing sheltered minutes. He's 27 years old, or is he 26 years old? Let me double check on that.
He's 27.
27. Thank you. 27 years old. He's got an expected goals for percentage of 54.72. Now he's playing on a good St. Louis Blues team. So you have to keep in mind that his numbers might be pumped up a little because of that. At all strengths, it's just 52.16. If you were to take that and you would make it relative to his teammates, you would see that he is a positive influence on the ice. His expected goals for percentage relative to his teammates at all strengths is 2.82, which shows that when he's on the ice, relative to his teammates, he is a positive 2.82%. Now, this is going to be a great opportunity for him. He's an RFA making 7.25 or 7,200,000, 72. My lord.
What is
$725,000 a year. Got to slow down, Brian. Slow down. He's making $725,000 a year. He's an RFA at the end of the season, so he's under team control. He's going to get an opportunity to play more meaningful minutes with the Detroit Red Wings. This has like Steve Yzerman rebuild written all over. He's got great micro analytics with the St. Louis Blues. Now on a team that needs more defensive help, he's going to get more minutes and an opportunity to make a name for himself. It's a best of both worlds for him and for the Red Wings.
Yeah, and he's only 26, right? So like I know, the difference between 26 and 27, whatever. But honestly, in my head, there's like a huge difference between being 27 and 26. Like that's like a monumental difference in my brain. And I'm really pumped about that one, man. Like you said, his possession metrics have been fantastic, and that's in a lessened role. And he's gonna get playing time, that's for sure. I mean, he's gonna get playing time at the blue line. That's for damn sure. So we move Leddy, we bring in Osterley and now him. Like, I'm not saying the defense is going to be good. No one's saying that, but it's at least refreshing to know that the product you will be seeing on the ice has a higher ceiling now than it has all season. That's at least something that we can take and be happy about.
Well, no, you're 100% spot on. That was something I want to touch on too. Like, you got an RFA in Jake Walman. You claimed an RFA in Olli Juolevi, who is another player who's looking to like revitalize his career after a bunch of injuries since his draft in 2019. He was taken at 5th overall. Like, he was a highly touted prospect. So you've replaced Danny DeKeyser, who's now on the IR making $5 million a year, and Nick Leddy, who's a UFA at the end of the season, who's making $5 million a year. Both, unfortunately, got to remember the human element of it, underperforming their contract, so they lost their roster spot on the team. Nick Leddy gets to go to a contender. Great for him. Hopefully he bounces back. But now we replace those two bodies with young guys under team control who could pan out to be something useful. And if they don't, they're cheap options that you don't need to keep around. Either way, this is a win for the Detroit Red Wings because these are young guys that could help shore up the defense in the short term, or if we're lucky, long term.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if they don't work out, let's say neither of them do anything long-term for the Wings. They're just here for the remainder of their contracts and then gone, right? Walman has a rough second half of the year. We decide that even though he's only an RFA, we don't match whatever he's offered by other teams. Both of them are gone in this summer. You still got a second-round pick for Nick Leddy.
You got that? You always have that second-round pick.
It's seriously, it's an unbelievable move. The ceiling, I don't think anyone's saying the ceiling for these guys is remarkable, but I mean, I think Walman has the potential to be like a valuable depth defenseman on this team going forward, and he's certainly in that limited playing time shown glimpses of potential this year, and I'm ecstatic. It's such a phenomenal deal, and like I said, even if neither of them work out and they're both gone, Walman's gone, this summer. And what's his name?
Oskar Sunqvist or
Yes.
Oliualevi?
No, is gone next summer, right? You still got a second round pick.
Yeah, and I mean, in the short term, you got players to fill roster spots who could turn out to be good for you. I mean, you never know until they start playing. But Jake Walman's, everything points to him being better. I mean, the fact that even in sheltered minutes, he was a positive impact on the ice rather than off the ice. And when you have Jay Fresh, who's posting his own, formula showing that, he has his EV offense was 72%. As a defenseman, his offensive impact was in the top 38% in the league from defense. Like that is something to be said, and he's going to get an opportunity to grow with more minutes here at the Red Wings, and he could turn into an offensive defensive weapon. Now, I'm not saying he's going to turn into a top pair, but we need help in the the back end of defense, and between him and Oliualevi, like that back end of the defense could turn into something sustainable, decent. I mean, I'm not asking for a lot here at this point.
No, exactly, man. And with, like I said, no one's saying the defense is going to take a big step forward or anything like that, but it'll be at least be a lot more enjoyable to look out for individual performances on the defensive end.
It definitely will be. And we're going to keep talking about the trade deadline and the moves that were made on it. But I do have to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On sent you. Also got to talk to you guys about betonline.net. As soon as it loads. Here we go. It's that time of year again as college basketball's tournament is finally upon us. From all the latest odds, contests, and player props, betonline.net is the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting in your favorite Vegas casino games. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Let's talk about Oskar Sunqvist now. Scotty, we've ranted and raved about our expectations with Jake Walman and how we hope he, turns out to be something exciting.
I just realized something.
Yeah, what's up?
I said Osterley in the first segment when I meant Ualevi.
I didn't even catch it.
That's on me. Somebody has already left a comment and hasn't even gotten to this part and is so excited that I made a mistake that they've already left a comment. But I'm going to clear the air right now and say that I did say the wrong name. I meant Ualevi. But anyway, continue.
Also, now that you've made the point that somebody will have made that comment, someone's going to get to this point in the video and make that comment snarkily as if they had done it originally.
And now somebody's going to hear your comment and say, oh my goodness, now I definitely have to, because now it's going to be funny. And all the guys are just going to be talking about it.
I'm glad that on our most exciting episode of the year, this is all it's going to get talked about. Oskar Sunqvist is somebody who's my expectations for are a little bit more mitigated. He's 27 as well, I believe, 26 years old maybe. And he's okay. I mean, he's going to be a bottom line, third or fourth line center for this team. I believe he can also play right wing if he has to. His Jay Fresh's card form has a projected WAR percentage of 38%. He's great on the penalty kill, and he's great on fourth line. But that's about it. He doesn't really provide a lot. He has one more year. I guess the best value he has is that he has another year at $2.8 million. After this year, he's not an expiring contract, so he helps fill a roster spot for another year if you need him. If not, you can ship him out in a deal in the offseason, just like they did with Richard Panik. But
sure,
you know what?
I mean, it's also not like it's not like this deal is $7 million a year. Like it's not like
it's not like you need the cap space,
right? It's $3 million, and you have the second most cap in hockey. Like it's fine. It's not a big thing at all. And I mean until you find some center depth, which we are all desperately looking for at the moment, he at least provides you that.
No, I agree. Like I guess maybe I was coming down a little bit too hard on him. Like he's a player another guy who's gonna be getting more opportunity with the Red Wings than he did with St. Louis because it's a less deep team. So there's more opportunity to showcase what you got. He did put his goals for percentage with the St. Louis Blues this past season was 39.85. He had, 4 goals and 10 assists for a total of 14 points so far in 41 games played this season. But playing, again, bottom line minutes, you don't expect a lot of guys to score a lot of points from back there. So his production was fine given where he was at. Relative to his teammates, he was a negative 7.82 on the ice rather than off the ice.
Good hockey team.
A very good hockey team. So it's hard to
Good
keep up with a team like that. But he's a great penalty killer, and that is where his value is going to be for the Detroit Red Wings.
And guess what we've been pretty bad at?
Penalty kill. Although we did get a comment saying that the Red Wings penalty kill was actually good against the Seattle Kraken. And I will agree.
I agree with that.
They took a lot of penalties, and we focused on that, but we did not say about the fact that they killed a lot of those.
Credit where credit's due, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but
credit
overall,
to the commenter too. Yeah,
credit to the commenter.
So if we don't talk about it, bring it up.
But overall, penalty kill has been really bad this year. So Oskar Sunqvist, that might be his role. He might be the penalty killer on this team to help shore it up, because if there's one statistic that he thrives in, he's in the top 34% in the league in penalty kill.
Hey, teach people how to be good at it too. Leave your mark on this organization. Teach the coaches too. Teach everybody how to be better on the penalty kill.
Yeah. Well, you know what this trade also does is he's another young guy, another young body, which we need.
Yep.
I mean, he's 26. The team got younger again. Amazing. Steve Yzerman keeps chipping out older dudes for younger dudes. That's how you do the rebuild, baby.
Not going to complain. At this current stage of the rebuild, I'm not going to complain with that.
Can we also mention real quick about the enigma? I know he's not a Red Wing anymore, but I saw Nick Leddy's, stat card, and I was like, what is this man? Because his projected WAR percentage is 17%. His even strength offense, his even strength defense, his power play, his finishing, and his goals per 60, all really bad. But his A1 chances per 60 and the ability to draw penalties were amazing. And when you go to his micro stats, Scotty, his defensive retrievals are top or upper echelon, but his ability to stop zone entries right at the bottom. His ability to create zone entries, offensive zone entries, up top. His ability to transition out of the zone, fantastic. His shots, 1%. His passes, 85. This man, and guys, go to JFresh to look at all these. I'm not going to read off all these numbers. You guys would fall asleep. But basically what it comes down to is, how is Nick Leddy so good only in transition, but underwhelming, let's say, in the defensive and offensive zone? The dude is an enigma.
He really is. How about the fact that he also gets moved the day after his birthday?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's just, Yzerman is just, if your birthday's coming up, sleep with one eye open, dog. Because Stevie Y's a coming.
He's coming for you. He's coming.
Do you finally want to talk about it? Or are you not ready yet?
I'm ready. We can do it.
Not ready emotionally?
Well, let's grade the...
You not come to terms with it yet?
We have to grade the Nick Leddy trade first. Give me your grade.
Oh, A.
Absolutely. 100% agree. A trade.
Easy.
You traded Nick Leddy for a second. Ooh, Nick Leddy and Witkowski, first of all. Sorry, Witkowski. We love you.
Best of luck.
Best of luck to you. Easy A. Absolutely.
Easy A.
Vladislav Namestnikov.
For a 2024 fourth round pick.
Not even a recent. Yeah, not good.
Yeah, not great. I think I got some stuff to say about this.
Just go off, Scotty.
It's not. I don't think people are gonna like it very much. I expected more. I did. Absolutely was in the camp of everybody else. I expected more. I don't think that this is end of the world egregious move. And I know that there's a lot of emotion behind it because he loved being a Detroit Red Wing and everybody loved him and I love him. But we gotta take a step back.
Absolutely.
And realize This was a winger, deepest position in all of hockey. A winger on an expiring deal that's about 30 years old, that his career year is like half a point a game. I mean, again, I did expect more than a fourth. I'm not saying, and nonetheless, a fourth like 2 drafts from now. I'm not saying that we didn't get I'm not saying that I expected this or that this is his true value. I did expect more, but this is not some like, oh my goodness, what is Steve doing? How horrible of a move is this? I can't believe it. What, like, that it was probably the best offer on the table,
Yeah.
and I would assume that it was the best offer on the table. I shouldn't even say probably. And there is zero emotional attachment aside. There is 0 point in holding on to him. 0.
So I agree 100% to everything you just said. And the overarching, the one thing you always read on the internet when these types of trades happen with fan favorite players is, oh, well, they can just re-sign them in the offseason. Guys, that never happens.
Tell
That
me, dude.
That's not going to
In
happen.
every single sport for the last, since free agency was invented, every single sport, whenever a team trades an expiring deal, it's, oh my goodness, he's going to come back in the offseason. It's going to be okay. The only time I have like a recent recollection of that happening, I think, is Aroldis Chapman with the Yankees. I'm not sure I can tell you another time that it happened in any sport in the last like 10 years. All I can think of off the top of my head, at least, is Chapman. And that was 5 years ago, 6 years ago now.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen because, I mean, I'm sure he loves it here. Like, we know for sure he does. But if there was an intent on keeping him, they wouldn't have dealt him in the first place. If there was an intent on him staying, they wouldn't have dealt him in the first place. Because why would he uproot his entire life to go to a new city in Dallas to just come back? And yeah, he can rent a place, he rent an apartment for the last few months of the season, then come back. Of course, I know that. But that's just not how it works. If there was an intent on keeping him, they would have kept him. Like, that is just how it works. And it sucks, but in the end, you got something for a player you would have gotten nothing for. And I trust that Yzerman, like you said, got what was best. That's why I think it waited until the very, like, right as the trade deadline was expiring for that deal to go through, because he was waiting to see what offer
took
could
3
come.
hours till after the dedeadline ended to actually go through. But yeah.
I don't even think that a 4th round pick is necessarily like bad value for him. I think
I don't. If it was a 4th rounder this upcoming year,
I'd have been fine with it.
Right. It's just like it's a 4th rounder, which is already like, I kind of wanted a 2nd or a 3rd. And then on top of that, it's, 2-3 years down the road. But look, man, the point of acquiring draft picks after like the 2nd round is for assets that you can then trade up in within drafts or throw on to the side of a deal to get a player. Like, no one is acquiring 4th and 5th round picks to just be like, oh, look, I have 4 picks in the 4th round. Nobody cares. But the whole point is to be able to slap them onto other trades, or then, like I said, or do pick and move up in a draft. Like
when you traded your 2nd round pick you had from Edmonton to get Nick Leddy last offseason.
Right. The whole point is to just have as much draft capital as you possibly can, because it gives you a ton of options. So yes, a 4th rounder is underwhelming. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But this isn't some like catastrophe of epic proportion and some like massive failure within the organization to get more than that. Like, hey man, it hurts me too. And like, I know I sound cold blooded, but like, I love Vlad.
Oh,
and I'm so sad that we may never see him playing a wing wheel again. That breaks my heart. But on a pure hockey standpoint, this is not, while it is underwhelming and it is less than what I thought, it's not it's not like I said, it's not some big failure on the front office's behalf either.
Yeah, I mean, it just hurts because he's a guy who loved to be here, and he could play anywhere on the lineup, and he did a good job. He was a great defensive forward, and playing on the wing of some really talented players. He was scoring at a decent clip. He's got 25 points in 65 games. You're looking to match his career best. I mean, it sucks to lose a guy like that who quickly became a fan favorite, but I mean, you're going to lose him at the end of the season anyways. Same with Troy Stetcher, same with Nick Leddy. In the end, you got something for somebody you weren't going to get anything out of in the end. And that's how it comes down to. Scotty, what's your grade on the Vlad Namestnikov trade?
I'm toying between two. You go first.
I'm going to say C.
All right. I'll go C minus then. I was debating between a D plus and a C minus. So because you went C, I'll go closer to you.
Yeah. I wasn't necessarily, it's not the round that kills me, it's the year. That's really what it came down to. The Troy Stetcher trade, let's assign a grade to that.
Whatever the letter equivalent of the word sure is.
C.
Sure.
Like a 7th round pick is worse, but Troy Stetcher is again like a guy who just kind of depth role sometimes. You know, it was meh.
I'm fine with gaining draft capital and gaining draft assets for a dude that was not part of the long-term plan. Sure.
So I think I'll change my answer on the Namestnikov trade to actually C minus. I think I'll go with you on a C minus because that one, the Troy Stetcher was the epitome of the meh, where the
sure, yeah. You don't want those two to be.
Namestnikov did feel a little bit.
If you're more underwhelmed with, yeah, sure, okay,
so C minus.
So I'll go with C on Stetcher, A on Leddy, and then like a 69.5% on the Vlad one, and you're like asking your teacher to round it up to a C minus.
I love that.
That's my grade.
Scotty, I love you. That's great. That's hilarious. Overall, grade Steve Yzerman on this deadline. I'm going to go with a B.
Yep.
I think a solid B overall.
Solid B.
I think that Nick Leddy carries a lot of water this deadline, but it was a great trade.
For sure. I mean, you could look at it from the opposite way too. I think the Vlad deal carries a lot on the negative side of it. So
You're right.
I think it's a very solid B. Absolutely.
And then there was the Stetcher trade.
You got you traded 2 expiring deals that were not long-term plans. Again, for as much as we love Vlad, not necessarily a long-term piece to this puzzle. You traded 2 expiring deals that you didn't view as long-term pieces, and you got a second 2 depth pieces that are still young enough to make an impact long-term if they play out, and a 4th in a couple of years. B.
Spot on. I'm way overdue. So today I'm going to talk to you about rockauto.com.
I thought we didn't have an ad read. That's why we kept talking, dog.
With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you ever need. Why endure often pointless, seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using rockauto.com. Why choose to spend 30, 50, or even 100% more for the same parts from a chain auto parts store or Carly dealership? Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find their solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now. See all the parts available for your car or truck, right? Locked down in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices. All the parts you'll ever need. rockauto.com. All right. We had a lot to say about the deadline. And honestly, I could keep going, but we need to preview this Philadelphia Flyers matchup that's happening tonight. They are 7th in the Metropolitan Division. This is the 3rd time the two teams have faced off one another. Last 2 times, the Detroit Red Wings kind of bullied them both times. Correction, Moritz Seider bullied them both times. I believe it was a submit form, JK. Red Wings won 4-2 and 6-3 in back-to-back games against the Philadelphia Flyers back in February. It's the 3rd and final matchup between the two. Now they don't have Claude Giroux, and the Red Wings don't have a couple of their depth pieces, but got depth pieces in the return. They're basically the same team, just minus Robbie Fabry. What do you expect from this game, Scotty?
I I want to expect a victory. I mean, this Flyers team blows. I mean, so like peek up behind the curtain. Growing up, one of the houses that I was raised in was a big Philadelphia Flyers household,
Explains a lot.
and so I have always kept tabs on. I have family um, that is Philly fandom, and so I've always kind of kept tabs on the Flyers. And for the first time, maybe in my life, I look at the Flyers roster and I'm like, SpongeBob, Patrick Star under the rock. Who the hell are you people? Like, it's
Dude, your
it's
references are amazing. I love that
it's
so much.
it's unbelievable. Like,
Dude, you got Rasmus Ristolainen. What more could you want?
I mean, like, yeah, like I guess so. It's just it's wild, man. And by the way, he's another one that Philly is all like, oh, like he can come back in the offseason. He won't. He absolutely won't. So I mean, this should be a win. This should be. You are a better team. You have a better roster. You have more top end talent. You're probably deeper, which you can't say about too many teams comparing to the Red Wings in the entire NHL. The only thing you have to worry about is if Carter Hart has one of his games. That's it. If unless he has one of his crazy games, and I'm still a believer, by the way. But if he has one of his, crazy show out games, then maybe you're in for a little bit of trouble. But the defense isn't good in front of him. The offense is, what offense? I mean, this should be a win by every single standard and every single way you can analyze two teams.
Yeah, it should be a win in all standards. But the problem is we've seen this season against teams that should be wins that the Red Wings don't necessarily do that. I mean, we saw it against the Coyotes. We've seen it against the Canadiens. We've seen it against Coyotes twice, first of all, which is just a travesty. But this Red Wings team is completely unpredictable.
Talk about that second game?
What second game? I thought I got canceled, dude. I'm not going to be negative. Red Wings are, on paper, the better team. Their defense isn't very good either, but now they're a defense with players that have something to prove. We talked about it in the first segment with Jake Walman, Leddy. Those are players that have something to prove. They're on fresh teams, could revitalize them. Defense has the opportunity to be better this last month of the season here. Nedeljkovic has found his stride again. He's had 2 straight games. I said it yesterday. He's let in 2 goals on 80-some shots. Last 2 games, he's been amazing. And no doubt going to get the start again tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. And then you're off.
Quick question. Do you think Grice's usage plummets now that it's post-trade deadline and he's still here?
I think he'll be used for the odd, give Nedeljkovic a rest performance, but that's it.
Okay. I was thinking the same thing. I don't think we're going to be trying to, showcase him too much.
There's really no reason to have Grice play because he's been really rough. Besides that performance against Calgary, which I will say he played fantastic in. But he's been rough for the most part.
Play the New York Rangers, or it's the second game of a back-to-back. Grice, I don't need to see Thomas Grice out there anymore.
Yeah, so it's going to have to, and it's going to be good for Nedeljkovic, too, to just get more starts. Unless he's, genuinely has burnout, which then Grice makes his appearance. But this is Nedeljkovic's net. It's his net to lose, and he's got 2 back-to-back great games, so let's go for 3. Offense is, going to be fine, I think, with Bertuzzi. You think Bertuzzi's going back up on that first line? That's going to be interesting. You got to think they keep him on the second line, just keep him with Suter, because who are they going to have with Suter then? Vrana?
I mean,
no, they're going to have Vrana.
Please, for the love of everything, get Jacob Vrana off the third line. That'd be cool. But
either way, our offensive depth is way better. I don't want to look too deep into that.
Yeah, everything we have is better than Philly. It's just going to be a matter of whether we actually show up or not, which is not a guarantee.
Scotty, speaking of, that reminds me. Eisman said in his press conference after the trade deadline that he fully intends on extending Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi between now and next offseason is on the next 18 months.
The next 18 months, yeah.
Next 18 months of getting those two players extensions, which I think is very definitive and says a lot about how he views the those two players as this team's future going forward. Not that they can't be dealt like he did that with Mantha, but it definitely kind of reassures the fan base like these guys are part of the future going forward. And with Bertuzzi, I do believe that Bertuzzi never wanted to be traded, but I also do believe that Yzerman was probably listening.
I think so too. No, look, we talked about it last week. Tyler Bertuzzi's value will never be better for the rest of his career than it is right now.
Career best,
that's because
cheap contract.
He's about to get paid, right? If he's going to get extended, he's going to get a big bump in his contract. He's only going to get older. And if his production, which has been very good this year, stays where it's at after he gets paid, that makes him worth the money for us, but that doesn't make his value higher than what it is right now. It honestly makes it lower because his production will remain the same and his salary will go up. So his value will never be higher. I think Steve listened to calls, and when nothing really piqued his interest and in what in his mind was worth Bertuzzi's value,
which apparently is high because he's thinking of extending him.
Correct. Then he said, okay, we're in it for the long haul now. Let's get it done. I truly believe that is what happened.
100% believe. And so it's really nice to hear those reassurances. I mean, not just about Bertuzzi, but about Larkin too. Like he intends on extending Larkin. He views Larkin as the captain on this team for the foreseeable future. And it's nice to have
That's
for
beautiful.
so many
That'll make a grown man cry. That's
it
beautiful.
will. Well, when you look at the bigger picture too, like for so many seasons, we've had just like the roster's been different every single year. We've had nobody who was safe. And to have that feeling as if a player is finally safe on this roster, as if that is the foundation, it's like sunlight at the end of the tunnel. It feels
Almost
like the end is near. And
almost here.
We knew ahead of time that Raymond and Sider were the untouchables too. So it's like the core is built. Like it's here now. Like the core is essentially here. Add in a couple new players next season, you got your core for this team going forward. Not that players can't be dealt to improve the roster later, as championship teams often do, but like this is the core of this competitive team that's forming. Great.
That's a beautiful thing that we already have that foundation laid and we can watch on a game-to-game basis.
Yeah, and that foundation is performing on a game-to-game basis as well. Back to the Philadelphia Flyers game, though. What would you say, my friend, is your X factor?
It took every ounce of my body not to make a your mom joke right there.
You should have done it.
Dude, it was literally it was like right here.
We're not above it. Like, if anything,
you guys should really see how often I make those jokes to Brian when we're not on air. It's prevalent.
Yeah, I'll ask a question. He'll just be like, your mom. All right, cool. Thanks, Scotty. Great input.
He loves it, though. Look, he's a big fan.
I'm a big fan of you, Scotty. You make me smile.
I think my X factor is, geez, man. This is a game where we shouldn't need an X factor. You should just go out and beat
do your job.
Doors off of the Flyers, like you should. Even with the team right now, you're a sub 500 team. You're not going to make the playoffs. You are still comfortably better than the product the Flyers are about to put on the ice. There shouldn't need to be, we really need this dude to step up if we want to win. We need this, production out of him and him. We need this line to be better. You are just a better team. You should go in and get the job done and come home with a dub. You shouldn't need this. You're a better team. That should just be it.
Your X factor is the Detroit Red Wings as a whole.
Yes.
I like it. And I never said any rules. I mean, I think one time I said the Little Caesars Arena fans are the X factor.
You did, I think. Yeah.
It was the Toronto Maple Leaf game. And they lost. Anyways, I will say a player. I think it's going to be Tyler Bertuzzi. I don't know if you've noticed this, but he hasn't scored a goal in a minute. He's been a kind of a streaky player.
been a while.
He got a really nice assist the other night on Taro Rossi's goal, but I think it's time for him to get a goal. I think he's going to be a difference maker in this game, coming off of not getting traded, getting reassurance from the captain and press conference that he is part of the team's future. I think he's going to be fired up, and I think he's about to get a goal or two against Philadelphia Flyers, who he likes to rough up on. Mo Seider would be a good pick too, because he's already beaten the crap out of them a couple times.
True, yeah. We already know that Mo Seider's the mayor of Philadelphia.
And that's where he had that end-to-end where he went down and came back on the penalty kill.
Yes,
Beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I love him.
Who doesn't?
Are we going to do a segment on the Mojo show tomorrow? Did you watch it?
Oh, dude, it's so good.
He's so
funny.
charismatic.
The best part is the very end, honestly. The best part is, do you want to FaceTime Joe? No. It's so funny.
The team has fun, and that's such a great thing to see.
Yeah.
Scotty, we're overtime, buddy, but it was definitely deserving.
It was needed, though. We need to let it all out.
Yeah, there was a lot to talk about this episode. Thanks for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Hosts Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy hockey league. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Did you see that aggressive point I did there?
Yeah, I pointed back at you. But
Oh,
you don't
did
look
you?
at me, so.
Well, because I'm on a different screen.
No, it's fine, dude.
Oh, you want to point at me now?
No, not really.
Oh,
you want to like ET it? Like that.
you're so stupid. Any final thoughts?
Trust the eyes are playing, baby.
Trust the eyes are playing and beat the Philadelphia Flyers.
Damn right.
From one wing logo to the next.
Yes.
We'll be back with a new episode tomorrow,
first.
recapping this one. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.